Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday, August 18. And we got a market which is pretty much in a holding pattern, backed off a little bit from Friday's moves. So Friday we have a couple of sideways days here now. So we're pretty much in stage three, I would say, on the profile, building value. Maybe still be pulling back. It's hard to say, but I mean, I would say we are in stage three right now, building value. So not we started by extending a little bit in the overnight Friday, backed off a bit. So I mean you may want to argue it either way, but he has taken a step back from the whole thing and looking at the F2 here you have back and forth looking when they push the edges a little bit on the upside, but you already had an inside day from did that day before. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, all kind of sideways, they're testing the highs, not being able to make new headway. And now we're backing off a little bit in the overnight. So I would just look at this as we pretty much ran out of gas on that move out of the middle to the upside. And we are in a spot where we testing the lower ends of the range. Uh, and we may see a little bit further retracement. We'll see. News this morning, though, before we keep going, not much to drive the market at all. We have housing market at 10. This whole week is going to be a very light news week, by the way, pretty light. So 10 o'clock we get housing data today. Then on Tuesday we get the housing starts and permits. Wednesday we get oil report, a 20-year auction. Thursday, we have a fair amount of news come out. Jobless claims, PMI, existing home sale, leading indicators. And on Friday, we only have Powell speaking at 10. So pretty light news. We don't think the only news we have coming out on Thursday, really. But so pretty light. But I would start off range bound at this point and see where the market wants to take me. Capital flow is pointing to the upside. So if anything, I would favor the long side. But overall, I would just start off range bound and see if this move in the overnight now is going to turn into a little bit more weakness or if we're going to see a little bit of strength developing. So anyone's guess. We see we are reverse retesting this whole area here at the 6450s. And if that comes out, we can certainly see a rotation right back here to that area at 6405. So if I fold this together, you see a little rotate, little area of value. If you single prints and they start retracing these single prints, I think we are heading right back to that 6400 level. So that's how we get started. Range bound, the capital flow put in higher, so I would favor the long side. They start taking out this low at the 64.55s. I would look for retracement trade right down here to that 64.10. I mean, they may probe a little bit. They may stall here at support at 64.40s, 64.30s. And they could end up as support areas for rotations back up. But I would just be a little bit less aggressive buying those if they are starting to retrace. So I think the better long setups are coming right here, not right now, 64.60s and 64.50s, 50 or 55s for rotations back up. And if they start taking that out, I would be more inclined to see if they can retrace any harder. On the way up, looking for short setups against 64.70s, 76s, 84s, up to the 95s with a bit of caution. Um, uh, Yeah, no, not so well, a little bit of caution, but I mean, it'd be a capital flow still pointed to the upside. But I think starting off range bound today, I think we can certainly look for short setups against these areas of resistance. So if they start trading up above this area, the 64.85s, I would take off any idea of the further retracement and just stay range bound at this point, at that point. So looking for short setups against the 70s, 76s, 85s, up to the 95s. For rotations back down above 95s, we may start thinking about the long side again. Maybe they're going to start pushing the upper edges. And below the 55s, I would start thinking about pushing the lower edges, maybe running it all the way down to that 64.10s. So that's how we get started, primarily range bound. Let's see if that little weakness we see in the overnight is going to turn into something, or they're going to be able to retrace that right from the get-go. All right. Now the market has been trading higher for quite a bit. So I mean, we have a triple top almost setting up on the ES. So we could certainly have a nice setup for a little bit of a pullback here. On the bond market backed off a little bit. Let me see if I can find my capital flow. And it's that big, beautiful distribution. Look at that big, beautiful distribution. We are right in the middle of. So we're right there, folding stuff together. So we have just one big, beautiful distribution, and we are right smack in the middle of it. So I would just start off range bound on the bonds. Look to trade, look to buy weakness, sell strength. Trade it as a range bound market for now. So looking to sell strength against the 1418s, 26s up to the 115s. Looking to buy weakness, 11410s, 11405 to 6, and 114 even rotations back up again. So between 14 and 15, as trade as a range bound market. Above 115 may have a long bias building. Maybe below 114 may have a short bias building. So it's kind of the starting point on the bonds. Pretty straightforward. When it comes to the Nasdaq, also pretty good retrace extensions to the upside last week. Definitely a nice move out of the middle. Friday wasn't that strong. Thursday wasn't that strong. We've been pretty much pulling back. So far, the overnight hasn't really extended the lows of Friday, so 730 still holding. But I would say that if I fold this together now, this whole thing is starting to become one bigger distribution. We have upper edges here at the 960s. We have a lower edge down here at the 580s. We're pretty much in the middle of it. I would not be surprised if we see rotations down here to the 580, maybe lower, or rotations back up to the 960. So I would just start off range bound on the Nasdaq right now. Capital flow is still pointed higher, so I would stay favored alongside if anything. But the on the exchange member chart, I'm pretty much range bound right now. So initially, I would look for shorts against the 800s, 840s up to the 870s. I'm going to buy against support against the 730s, 670s down to the 620s. Rotations back up. Below 680s here, or 580s, the last one down here, I would be starting to think about the short side in a bigger way. And if they start trading up above this area, the 880s, I would give it let them take out that 950 before I start thinking about the long side again. Take out the high volume area right there. So looking for short setups up to the 880 and 950s as well. But above 950s, we'll definitely have a potential move to the upside. If they blow through this area, the 870s, we have an edge there too. So an edge right there, with a small edge. So if they start taking out that 880s, we may have a shot at the 920s and then the 960s for rotations back down. So we'll see if it's going to be a volatile day or just a sloppy trading day. All right, so that's the Nasdaq to get started. And then finally, oil and gold. So oil, we rolled oil to the October contract. I forgot to say that Friday, but that Friday was the last day on this expiration. We rolled this one to the October expiration, so we are trading a V25 on oil right now. So that's my roll. We had a little gap down on oil. That's retracing some of that gap right now. So small gap down on oil, and that nothing much to worry about on that one. So but we are down here in the 60 or 61 area. So let me see. There it is. So on oil, we're right down in this lower attractor again after the rollover. So we'll see if it's going to retrace up and close the gap. Looks like they have a pretty good shot at doing that, but I would look to sell strength for rotations back down. That's how I would start it. But everything they're doing is to drive oil prices down. So, and after the meeting on Friday, I think it's no big huge reveal came out of it. More than that, it's a pretty freaking difficult situation. So, and see if they can pull a rabbit out of that hat. But right now we're starting off a range bound, slight bias to the. I'm not going to say a downward bias, even if because it gapped down. So we're going to wait to see if they are going to trade right back up here to this area at 63s again, or if they're going to stay on the downside here. So if they keep going lower, I would if they start taking out these lows at the 61.70s, I would just stay on the short side and see how far they can take it. And then finally, gold. Yeah, we just talked about oil. Gold is just sitting here around the 3400s. And my capital flow on gold. And as you can see, we are right back to that attractor. So holding that together, we've done here probing. We are heading back up to this attractor at 3400. So that's where they are. That's turning into a big attractor right now, high volume area. The fact that the building value up here is a pretty interesting sign. Implies that we may see higher prices. So basically that mode is moving up in the distribution, the long-term mode. So right now I would start off range bounding to buy weakness against the 3390s, 80s, 75s down to the 670s, rotations back up. And I would look to sell strengths at 95s, 3400, 34 eights, up to the 34 16s, 15 16. Above that 15 16, we are back above this area, and then we potentially have a shot at taking this higher. So that's kind of the level. So watch that upper area, the 34 16s. Above that one, I think we have a shot for higher prices then to break out. And below that 33 70s, things could get ugly. I would start looking at that short side already below the 75s. But just be mindful, you may have an edge a little bit lower as well. But below 75, I would be more aggressive, thinking that, okay, maybe we're heading lower here. So, but right now we're starting off range bound. So starting off range bound, fade those edges back to the mean. Same story with oil, but since they gap down right from the get-go, I would give oil a little bit of time to figure itself out, see where they're going to go. So I'm not going to be aggressive on oil today. But we are trading the Victor expiration. All right, back to the ES, and that's pretty much where we left it. So volume is okay, 115,000 in the micros, 86 on the ES, a little bit on the light side there, but I think at this point we could probably expect a pretty light news week and a pretty much a summer doldrums trading kind of a week. That could obviously change. There may still be earnings coming out. There'd be some news on the Russia situation. It could also impact the market. So there's still some curveballs out there which can start happening. So which can happen. So, but we'll leave it that. So leave it there. So good trading. And there's no news at 8:30 to wait for. So the only news we have today is 10 o'clock housing market index. So good trading, guys, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update.